Yeah, I think it's worth talking a little bit today about this. So I made a video about crouching medium kick and a drive rush and how it can be detrimental. Spending the resources on this can be a downside. One thing I didn't talk about is throws very much, but I noticed there is a trend in fighting games where saying a game is strike throw is in parentheses derogatory. This game is strike throw in parentheses baby game. What they actually mean is this game is strike throw in parentheses. I think it's probably too easy to generate offensive power in the game, and you put someone into a 50-50 between strike throw either too consistently off too much stuff, or it doesn't cost you very much, or the offensive player just has too much reward and the defensive player doesn't have a lot of impact in the decision making. I think that's what most people mean when they say strike throw in a degenerate way. But to like pull back a little bit, fighting games are strike throw. There are some games that are more strike than throw, and usually it's because either the throws are very weak in the game or the strikes are belligerent. The strikes are unreactable overhead low left right mix-ups that you can loop and do like 4 or 5 of in a row. So like in Marvel 3, if I'm a 0 player, why am I going to throw someone on incoming when I have lightning into, you know, overhead low into assist plus dash through plus side swap, plus, you know, like your mix-ups are so strong, your strikes are so strong, you don't really need to throw that often. Marvel throws are really good. Like when you throw someone in Marvel, you kill them and they're one frame. And you can OS them into your movement. So when you dash, the dash is a buffered throw, a one frame buffered throw. But the strikes are so strong that you almost don't even use the throws. Like you almost always use the strikes. All the throws in Marvel are option selected into heavy attacks anyway. So the strikes are so powerful that even the throws are strikes. And yeah, games like KOF that are not really throw heavy games, it's because their strikes are really powerful. Like the triangle of options to beat like hop versus anti-air versus low, the strikes are really strong, right? So you don't need to throw like that. Although throw defensively on wake up when you have like an immediate throw is very powerful. Structuring your pressure so that it doesn't lose a throw is still important. But yeah, generally fighting games are strike throw. That's how they work. Whatever the unblockable it is to beat the guard. And all fighting games are hitting someone's guard, either with something that's hard to deal with, plus, or it goes far, or it's projectile, or it's overhead low or left right, or breaking the guard with an unblockable, which is what throws are. The same idea with command grabs. Like, why are command grabs scary? There are throws that you can't beat by staying on the ground and teching. You're forced into jumping, which means the strikes are going to hit you while you're trying to jump, right? Unblockables exist to make you to move so that the strike will catch you while you're moving. It's the same kind of concept on like a bigger level. And all fighting games are strike throw really in some way, shape, or form. There are few exceptions, like Dive Kick is a game that's only strike. A game like Tekken is an example, right? Tekken has throws and then it has strikes, and the strikes are mids and lows instead of overheads and lows. I think when people complain about strike throw, it's usually not a complaint about the concept of strike throw, because if you don't like strike throw, that's like all of fighting games, right? So you just don't like fighting games. But it's more of like, I don't like how these things are weighed, right? And some people want their strikes to be strikes in parentheses plus mids. Some people like strikes that are like overhead low or left right or whatever, or like long range pokes. Yeah, usually the problem that people have with strike throw is not strike in the equation at all. It's usually throw. And for some reason, getting thrown, it creates the most frustration, I think, of anything. For like, people think, for example, that throw loops in Street Fighter 6 are too powerful for lots of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is people say they're too easy. I mean, I think throw loops are easy, but I think walking back and hitting my attack in a drive rush to beat the throw is also like just as easy. I don't think one is easier than the other. And what's interesting about Street Fighter 6 in particular, there are options to beat throw loops in the game, right? And there are options to beat strikes in the game. You can tech the throw. You can also backdash the throw. You can also jump throw. And you can also use an invincible option to beat the throw. These are all options. And if you want to beat the strike, you can use an invincible option, you can parry, you can block, or drive impact if the strike is like extremely long recovery for whatever reason. But when you watch high-level Street Fighter 6, generally the game doesn't have a lot of offense that you can generate with plus frames outside of spending drive rush. Usually what the offense in the game is like a few buttons that space your opponent out to then holding space in the corner with like a spacing trap of some kind, right? The threat of your drive gauge running out forces you into actions that are 50-50s that could lose you the round and stuff like that. Those are the things that get you hit. Or the throw, and you eat the throw because you don't want to eat the strike, because the strike deals more damage. So it's just weighing the risk reward on offense and deciding to take the less damaging option. But when you watch high level Street Fighter, right? When someone corners Ken or Luke, how often do you see first knockdown, they backdash, their opponent tries to throw, and they get crouching jab, punish counter, crouching heavy into side swap. And he's like, now got you in the corner, and he's like, what up? And he's pulling up on you for offense. Almost never, right? Even though it happens quite frequently at a high level, you almost never see someone post a clip that's like, here's someone evading a throw and then winning the round. It's like, here's someone getting thrown 4 times in a row, and I don't like it. Like, how often is there a clip of someone doing crouching medium kick drive rush. It hits. They carry to their opponent to the corner. Then their opponent does wake up perfect parry, back throw, and then now they only have like a brick and a half or like 2 bricks of drive gauge left, and then they get burnt out and lose because of it, right? That happens constantly. Like, it's like one of the most common things that happens in the game. And you never really see someone say like, wow, look at the defensive mechanic winning the round. Thinking about the system in a way that's not like, ugh, this is dumb, is probably not that common. I'm not telling you the system's perfect. People just act like the Street Fighter system is
you're a Sajam fan
Lamau
now?
do drive rush over and over and over, and like that's all there is to it. You do just do a lot of drive rush. It's a good move. It's like the best way to spend meter in the game generally, right? But it's also like plenty of times the system is more interesting and more interesting decisions happen, but people just don't talk about it or don't care. Like even in this clip I posted, this clip is old. I saw this at Capcom Cup. No one talked about it. They didn't talk about it on commentary. There wasn't anybody who highlighted it later. So there's a lot of stuff like this in footage that you can like point out as interesting. Maybe it doesn't suit the thing that they want to say about the game, or they don't care. See, like I got this comment. Flowcharting a 3-bar mix-up from not winning footsies shouldn't be in your game plan, I think. Arguably, spending 3 for an extension is usually wrong too, unless it changes the number of neutral wins you need left. This comment said if you're losing the neutral, you should not do button into drive rush, which is interesting because like, you know, in that clip that it turned out to be true, right? But like, doesn't that challenge the exact thought of how people play the game? Like, don't most people just like, I'm losing, fuck it, button in a drive rush, and then you win the game? I'm not saying they're wrong or they're right, because it's more complicated than that. But it's cool. Like, it's a cool comment, because that's how you lose a lot of times, you know? Even old games are a lot of strike throw, right? Even games that people love, like, people are like, I love third strike. The strike that's third, right? Third strike is a strike throw game. It has really scary throws. Have you watched Chun-Li play in that game? She be striking and throwing, that's for sure. She does Kara throw from mad fucking far or crouching medium kick, and that's it. Yun's strikes are so strong, and then he just pulls up on you with super priority with his Ganajin, and then he throws you, and you're like, well, those are footsies games. Is it like, if the game is older than 10 years, it becomes a footsie game? And then like, if it's newer than 10 years, it's a strike throw game. I mean, every game you're playing some kind of footsies. Yeah. So the point about strike throw that I'm making is not that strike throw is like ever expansive and it's the only way to talk about the game. It's that people say strike throw to mean that the game is not good, even though that's how all fighting games boil down eventually. It's like you have some issue, some greater issue with the game that you have like a frustration with. Like you think throws are too powerful, you think strikes are too weak, or you think the defensive options are not strong enough, or something with actual teeth there that you're trying to say, but you're like saying, oh, this game is just strike throw. What are you actually trying to get at there? You know what I mean?